Welcome everybody to the 2021 Candidates Forum for the Board of Commissioners. I am Kimberly Knoll, the President of the League of Women Voters for Sussex Highlands. So, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that promotes voters' rights, promotes voter registration, educates voters, as well as other policies. And our mission statement is, sorry, let me just make sure I read this. Envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. So if you have any questions about any of our programs or want to become a member, our table's in the back, and please come and talk to us. And we also have name tags. Mine keeps falling off, but those are the volunteers for this evening. Miss, no pictures, please. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right. I want to thank a couple folks this evening. Thank you, Lake Mohawk Country Club, and all the members of the Lake Mohawk community for so graciously volunteering this lovely space for us, especially the board of directors of Lake Mohawk, and Bill Kinlaw. I think I saw Bill today. Thanks, Bill. And thank you, John Stanley, for the lovely setup. I appreciate all your help with the logistics. I don't know where you are. Thank you to Jennifer Phillips for the refreshments. She's from Whitehair Realty. Thank you, Jennifer. You did a great work for all these things. Also, of course, thank you, candidates, for being here tonight. Could not have a candidates forum without the candidates, so I really appreciate you being here. Looking forward to some very lively discussion and interesting answers. Let me introduce our moderator for tonight, Louise Murray. There she is. Louise has been moderating for over 20 years. She's done a number of these events, and she is an expert at this. Can I say that? Welcome, Louise.
Just so that I would like to clarify, the League of Women Voters has about 20 trained moderators throughout the state. We've all been through rigorous training and we update ourselves. So when a local league wants a moderator, they draw from that pool. And the other requirement is that the person who serves as a moderator must be from out of the jurisdiction for which the candidates are seeking election. So I live in Morris County, in Morristown. I've been there for 43 years. I really don't know very much about Sussex County, so I don't come with any preconceived notions. With that, I would just ask your indulgence and forgiveness if I, when reading a question, mispronounce a name or an acronym of one of your public agencies, because this is all new to me. I'd like to explain the format for this evening. The candidates have all received this information in an email to arrange this event, and you as the public certainly deserve to know how we're going to use our time tonight. We will begin with 2-minute opening statements by each of the candidates. And because this is being live streamed, each candidate for all remarks will use that microphone. It's all wired so that it goes through Wi-Fi and does what it's supposed to do. After the 2-minute openings, we will have questions from the audience. And I know, and thank you, many here have already written questions on cards. And if you have a question, please raise your hand, and one of the Sussex Highland League members will pick it up and bring it over. We're making piles because so often audience questions are very similar. If there are a lot of questions on taxes, we'll ask one or two and move on to other issues. Usually taxes comes up. For the questions, again, it's 1 minute, and then if candidates choose, they may have a 30-second response, sometimes known as. In the drawing for speaker, the order of speaking for the opening candidates. Mike Vrabel picked the first candidate, so you get to go first. And you want to watch these two women right here, are the Louise Baggy, who has these very important cards to keep you on track for your 2 minutes.
This is the important one.
Okay, I have to admit I've run through some stop signs in my life, but I've become a better driver. As I get older, so I'll try to respect that. I need to, sorry, what else? Get this adjusted. Hi, Sussex County, my name's Mike Vrabel. I pledge to you tonight to adhere to my qualities that I've learned from my parents, from teachers, from my life experience, from my experience in the military. Throughout my life, I've tried to strive for 3 main simple principles. That mean integrity, courage, and compassion. Integrity, you teach your kids this, doing the right thing when no one's watching. Courage, doing the right thing when the whole crowd around you wants to do the wrong thing. And compassion, helping those who can't help themselves when they need help. Those 3 things, I pledge that tonight, that I will keep that as part of my qualities that I adhere to when I do if I do become a commissioner. I believe that nothing of great consequence ever comes from government for the public good without those 3 qualities in leadership. And I'm old enough, as you can see, to remember. I remember the Kennedy talking about going to the moon, and in 9 years we were. And I remember sitting there watching Neil Armstrong set his foot on the moon, being so proud of our country, and proud of the way the government made that happen. I remember the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, NASA's program to the moon, inspiring young scientists. The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Act, ensuring the vote for the disenfranchised. Government can work, but we're at a time now where government doesn't inspire anymore. We choose our teams, like, Chris is a Yankee fan, I'm a Mets fan. We choose our teams and we just adhere to what the team wants and not what the country wants. I pledge to work with others. You'll have to. If you get elected, we have to work with the other 3. And I will pledge to welcome the diversity. The census proves that Sussex County is becoming more and more diverse. And I pledge to welcome that diversity, embrace it. Thank you.
Our second speaker.
Sorry, thank you. Please allow me to begin this debate by offering an apology to the organizer. Last week in discussion about this debate, some members of my community, I used some coarse language. A woman who I've known since high school was offended and called it to my attention. While it was not meant for her, I apologize unreversibly to her and to the person referenced. I apologize as well to my running mate and my mentor, Don Fantasia, and to my party for letting them down. I'm not a politician. I'm a construction surveyor, a blue-collar union worker. I left the rough and tumble place of work to become part of my discussion. I'm sorry it happened, and I will not let that happen again. We are here tonight to discuss issues that affect our county and its future. This is my first time before you, my first time running as a county commissioner. So a little bit about myself. You already heard the bad. So here's the other side of my flawed coin. I'm a family man. My wife is an elementary school teacher right here in Sussex. We're raising 3 boys and 2 dogs in Frankfurt, and we attend Sanderson St. Thomas Church. I was raised in Wantage. I went to school at High Point. I'm a 20-year member of Operating Engineers E25. I've sat on a multitude of boards, and I continue to do so. These boards range from open space to New Jersey Transportation Authority. As commissioner, I have focused on constituent work, helping taxpayers and county workers with their problems, and I have addressed issues like Governor Murphy's cuts to education that impact our children's future. Our board has been successful in obtaining more than $27 million to assist frontline workers, taxpayers, and small businesses. And we have challenged Governor Merkley's failure to disclosure information on why he sent those infected with COVID into nursing homes and veterans' homes, causing the deaths of thousands, many here in Sussex County. There's a question on the ballot in Sussex County about this. It calls for an independent, transparent investigation by the legislative branch of government, and I urge everyone to vote yes. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dawn Fantasia. Dawn?
Good evening, and thank you for hosting us here tonight. My name is Dawn Fantasia. I am the Director of Sussex County Board of County Commissioners. Prior to this position, I served for 2 years on the Franklin Borough Zoning Board, 3 years on the Franklin Borough Council, and the year I was elected to the Board of Chosen Freeholders, I was serving as Council President. Myself and Josh Hertzberg assumed those positions at the county. We were sworn in 2019. I'm a single mother of 3. I have 2 daughters and a son, and I was raised in Sussex County. I grew up in Ogdensburg. I now live in Franklin. I'm a graduate of Whatcom Valley High School. I didn't grow up with much. I worked my way through college, and I'm a career educator. I was an English teacher, and now I'm a middle school principal, working in urban education at a public charter school in Garfield. 2020 marked the first time in the history of Sussex County that this board was led by 2 women, and it was in alignment with the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. I served as Deputy Director in 2020 and now as Director during the COVID-19 pandemic, and much of our time has been focused on maintaining services to residents in very constrained circumstances. And it has been a fight to obtain as many resources as possible from the state and the federal government to help offset the suffering of businesses and residents in the county. We had to allocate CARES funding that came to us months after it came to the rest of the state. During my time on the board, I also tackled the tough job of fashioning a plan to reduce county debt, not from the original 50-year plan, but in 10 years, including passing a new ordinance that prohibits new debt without voter approval. This is to ensure debacles like the solar scam never happen to us again. I'm proud that even the pandemic did not make us stray from our pledge of fiscal accountability and high levels of service to the public in the face of very daunting circumstances. Thank you.
And the fourth speaker is Scott Paul.
All right, 1 o'clock. Hello, Sussex County. First, I would just like to thank the League of Women Voters for having us, also for live streaming this, so that everybody who can't be here in person can still participate. And before I proceed, I would just like to acknowledge Vrabel. He was a Sparta legend who passed recently. I met Rob back in high school playing football against Sparta, and then a few years later as an entertainment director at Crows, I booked him a bunch of times because he was a big music lover and performer like myself. Just want to thank him for all the smiles and everything he did for this community. Now, who am I? Again, my name is Scott Paul. I'm a long-time Sussex County resident. I went to elementary through high school here. Also took a couple county courses at the college as well. I'm the son of a Haitian immigrant who moved here to provide a better life for her 3 kids. My mom taught us to believe in ourselves, to believe in God, to be grateful, and to always pass it forward. We received assistance from local organizations like Northwest Cap, Daisy, PSS, and many more. And as a kid, I was a mentee in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and after completing college, I came back to Sussex County to be a mentor in that program. I worked with Pass It Along, speaking at schools around the county, talking to kids about following their passion and purpose. I worked with Pathways to Prosperity throughout the pandemic, delivering food every Tuesdays to the food insecure throughout this county. And I'm now a board member on Northwest Cap, an incredible nonprofit organization that helps out over 30,000 low-income people every year. I'm on the clock, I'll try to keep this short. This year we founded the HEAL Coalition, and HEAL stands for Highlighting Equality and Equity Through Education, Advocacy, and Love. And this comes on the heels of last year, helping organize many rallies throughout the county, raising awareness around the realities of racism And these rallies were supported by thousands throughout the county, including local politicians and law enforcement who know that it's collaboration and it's compassion and commitment to the work that leads to a better society for everybody here. Thank you, guys.
It's wonderful to be so committed, but the longer we clap, the fewer questions we'll get to ask of the candidates. So let's hold that now until the end. The first question, we're going to start with Chris, and then move to Dawn, Mike, and Scott. And then the second question, we'll keep going around. So every candidate will have a chance to be the first to respond and follow. So Chris, we're going to start with you. And someone who'd like to know your stance on the TGP compressor expansion in Wantage.
Thank you. This actually discussion came up at a commissioner meeting, I believe about a month ago. Tennessee Gas Pipeline, that's what that stands for. We don't have much of a stance on it. We don't have any power to override that whatsoever. That's a federal law that's going to be, or state law, I take that back, the state law that Governor Murphy will have to sign off on. What I can tell you on that note is the DEP and some other state officials have signed off on that. I know West Milford already signed off on that too, but as for the county commissioners, we don't have a say in that. Passaic County, they put their 2 cents in when it came to West Milford, but Sussex County's stance on that is, it is what the people want in their municipalities. It's a municipality fight, and it's gonna go to the state. It's gonna be on Governor Murphy's desk, and we'll see where it goes from there. Thank you.
Dawn.
Again, to reiterate what Chris said, it's not a county decision, but what we did do at the county is we actually facilitated Tennessee Gas to come to a meeting. They requested questions ahead of the meeting. We were able to post those questions to them, and we had a representative come actually from Texas. They brought a team. They did a presentation for the public. Again, just because we don't have a vote doesn't mean it's not an issue that would affect the county. We heard a lot of concerns from residents. We heard support. We heard opposition. What we did hear is most people were concerned about the safety factor. It was reiterated by Tennessee Gas that the purpose was to increase safety of that compressor station. Again, we can't make a value judgment on it or a vote on it as commissioners because it's not within our purview. It is, again, up to Wantage, which is the town in the county that's actually affected by this, because that's where the location of the compressor station is. Thank you.
That's all agreed by me. It's not in the purview to affect the law governing that Tennessee Gas Pipeline expansion. However, there's been many resolutions passed in the last several years that weren't in the commissioner's purview. Second Amendment sanctuary, the referendum on the Immigrant Trust Act, they couldn't affect the law there, but they can make a statement. They could make a statement. They had residents at the first meeting where Tennessee Gas Pipeline conveniently didn't show up. They showed up later and there was no opposition. There were protesters in the parking lot at the first meeting ready to voice their concerns, and they did at the first meeting, but they didn't show up. The concern I have, and I looked it up, there's been 257 incidents, significant incidences, cited by the Board of Hazardous Material and Pipeline Association in the last, 21 years. And it's about 8.2 incidents, significant incidents a year from Tennessee Gas Pipeline. The last year I was flying, I just retired as an airline pilot last year, I remember this. Kim Jong-il was spouting off his mouth he was going to fire nuclear weapons. I saw an explosion when I was over Beckley, West Virginia. It turned out to be from Tennessee, not Tennessee, but another pipeline.
Thank you.
This is dangerous stuff. We have to pause before we can say something about this.
Thank you. Okay.
So Mike made some great points there, and as everybody said, that's not exactly in our purview, but I just think as Sussex County, we're known for being so green. That's what we all love about this place so much, our natural resources. That is the direction that we need to go as a society. We need to look at all the ways that we can use renewable energy sources and utilize them, and not other non-renewable ones that we know have already caused irreversible damage to this planet and to our community. So that's my stance on the Tennessee gas pipeline, and any initiatives to bring in non-renewable resources, I think is something that we should all take a real skeptical look at.
Okay, let's tone it down, okay. Dawn, you get this question.
So are we allowed to rebut?
Yes, I didn't see your hand. Now, you and your other 3 candidates will have 30 seconds to rebut. So, do you want to go to the mic?
Mr. Carney?
Okay.
Just to rebuttal on that, in reference to the Tennessee gas pipeline, it does produce a lot of jobs. We're not here as a county to micromanage a town. I'm looking at a councilman from Sussex or from Wantage right now. If all the mayors and councilmen around the county wanted our 2 cents, they would get aggravated, they would get angry with us. We're here to help them. If anybody reached out from Wantage or if it happened in any other municipality, we're here to help. We're not here to micromanage. That's not our job. That's not what we do here. Not as a county. We're here to support you, and we're always here.
Thank you. Mike, did you want to talk now?
I'm sorry?
Did you want to respond to the rebuttal, or did Chris speak for you?
No, I
Okay, fine, you get 30 seconds, and then Mike and Scott do as well.
Thank you. As far as the presentation, again, we had a presenter come from Texas. We, as you know, we are live again for county commissioner meetings, and we wanted a live presentation, not a PowerPoint, not a Zoom. We wanted the speakers there to address the concerns of the public. So the individuals were not able to come in the 11th hour that night. We allowed for nearly 2 hours of public comment that night on it to gather more information from the public, rescheduled. They took a plane and they were here. So I think we did our due diligence to provide a forum to the public to voice their opinion. Thank you.
Okay, Mike, you have 30 seconds. You may choose.
That's all well and good. Dawn is correct on all those points. My only comment to that is there was a deadline for written questions from the public to Tennessee Gas Pipeline when they did finally show up. I never saw where those questions were read. I listened to the audio of that meeting when Tennessee Gas Pipeline showed up. Where are the questions and where are the answers? We need to know.
I just wanted to comment on the, we aren't here to micromanage, but we are here to make sure that all of our residents are safe and lead and find different ways forward that are better for all the people here. So again, I agree that we're not here to micromanage, but we need to make quality decisions that will benefit not just us, but also our kids and the people that come after us.
Okay, let's hold this and we're focus on the debate. Now, Dawn starts the chain, and then it goes to Chris, and then around here. Okay. Why do I, as a single person, pay the same in water and sewer tax rate as a family? What is going on doesn't give me any reason to conserve water. So,
Can you read that?
sure. Okay. Why do I, as a single person, pay the same water sewer tax rate as a family? And how does this pay structure then give me any incentive to conserve water?
I was just asked that question not a week ago by Mr. Alfano. We had a discussion about it actually at a Hardison meeting, and he had said, is that a function, of the county? I said, no, again, it's not a function of the county, it's your municipality that sets it. I live in Franklin Borough. There's a set rate for water and sewer. I happen to be in a town that has sewer. Again, they look for a domicile or a business, for how many users they would be projected to have. So up to and including that rate, you are charged a set fee for sewer and a certain number of gallons for water. And when you exceed that, you're charged above it. Now again, there's a benefit, right? If you have multiple people in your household, there's not a benefit if you're by yourself in your household, right? Like you said you wanted to leave the hose on and run around the backyard or whatever with it, just to get your money's worth. But again, that's something that I would bring to the municipal, the town, the municipal governing body, and have that discussion. It's a discussion worthy of having.
Okay, I made a mistake. The next one will be, person will be Mike, and Chris goes last. You get to respond. Yeah, that was my error. We'll have it again.
This is not the most controversial issue, but I can see where it may affect somebody financially. I used to live in Lake Mohawk, and our septics were like ticking time bombs, if everybody knows who's lived in Lake Mohawk. It all goes into the lake, or it goes downhill. So we were always worried about it, but like Dawn said, I've never read where the county is, it's under the county's purview. Just even if you pay the same rate, I think it's always a good idea to conserve water. That's all I have on that.
Scott.
I'm sorry, can you give me the question one more time?
Sure. Why do I, as a single person, pay the same water sewer rate as a family? How does this fee structure motivate me to conserve water?
Okay, how does that encourage a single person?
It's
Okay, understood. So honestly, that's not an area of expertise of mine, and as Dawn said, that's not something that's exactly the purview of what the county commissioners are responsible for. But I mean, all I can say is we absolutely need to find better ways to get resources to people that need them, and not having them pay so much. The fact that this is a question obviously means that we're paying too much, for our water. And I'm all about finding ways to first lower our property tax. We have ways to do that and save money for our residents here. But as far as why, that's not exactly my area of expertise. But I look forward to working with everybody here on the board, everybody in the county staff, and finding ways to better serve people.
Chris.
Thank you. I think Dawn is the expert on this, coming from Franklin. I come from Frankfurt, where we have wells. This is an issue, again, for a municipality. When we're here to serve all the people, and when I say we're not here to micromanage, we're not here to micromanage municipalities. But let me tell you, as I've done in the past, and I still do now, if I get an email, party affiliation, unconcerned, does not matter who you are, I will answer that and I will direct you to where it needs to be. We got crickets in the room. And I will direct you to your municipality and help you with that question. Or make a phone call to the mayor or councilman if that helps. But on the county level, that's just something that we don't deal with specifically.
This question will be first go to Mike. What would be your 3 concrete steps you'll take and act upon if elected? Question.
I've been a volunteer, and then a church coordinator, and then a board member of Family Promise of Sussex County for probably over 24 years now, since I moved here to the county. Family Promise is a great 501c. We have a lot of great 501cs. Scott mentioned a bunch of them in his intro. Basically, the model used to be, before COVID, we took homeless families that had been evicted or for no fault of their own, lost their housing temporarily, and housed them in churches across the county. I'm a member of Sparta Methodist Church. We were one of those active congregations that did that. My passion, my first overriding passion to get done in the county is to pass the Homeless Trust Fund Act. It was a law passed by the New Jersey legislature back in 2005, and it gives the county the power to vote for it. It's a $3 fee extracted from mortgages and deeds through the county clerk, and it goes directly to helping people that are in crisis, becoming homeless. This was presented to the board about a year and a half ago from the town manager, and they didn't take a hearing on it. My passion is to get that to at least listen. Thank you.
So first, internet in Sussex County is terrible, and that's sort of my first order of business. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, there's the pandemic really exposed that issue from business owners to students to teachers to people just trying to stay in touch with their family. Our internet access here in Sussex County has been terrible for as long as we've had internet, and there are ways that we can improve that, and that would be my first order of business. The Homeless Trust Fund is also very important to me. Again, we have to help the people, and there are genius ways that people have come up with to help the people in this county, and that's something that I would definitely champion. Also cannabis. Sussex County voted 68% or 65% in favor of cannabis. I would make sure that businesses here are supported. I would make sure that people here who, whether medical or recreational, have access to it, and also businesses have a real opportunity to make money. We are the greenest county in the state. We should take advantage of that.
Thank you. Chris.
First and foremost, the most important thing that's coming to town is the $27.3 million from American Trust Fund. That's something that needs to be allocated to our small businesses, the taxpayers, to get them back on their feet. It's a big task. It's going to take a long time. The commissioners have a lot to deal with, a lot to go over with our council, but it's going to get done, and it's going to go in the right hands. Infrastructure is very big. That's what you're going to see with your tax dollar. Bridges, roads, striping, guide rail. That's what we've been working on for the last year and a half, the last 9 months, 10 months that I've been on the board. The other thing that's very important to me, and it might not be important to everybody here, but is a decent wage for our employees. I've been around in the county, stopping at the DPW garage, stopping at the Cochran building, and so on and so forth, and people are not very happy with what they're getting paid, and we need these people to stay. These are the grassroots, these are the people who live here. This is what we see with our infrastructure, and we need them to stay, and I want to make sure they get a good wage, and they're happy when they come to work.
All right, so if there are three priorities, as Chris said, allocation of the American Rescue Plan funds. As you're aware, Sussex County was one of 12 counties in the state that received $0 from the CARES Act for the first 6 months. So the fact that we get American Rescue Plan funding that Trenton Democrats cannot get their hands on makes it much easier for us to be able to compensate businesses that suffered greatly during the pandemic. Second, communication. What we found were some serious holes in county communication during the pandemic, and I picked up the ball with some of that on social media. My Friday nights consisted of 4 to 5 hours of breaking down health data with the epidemiologists and pushing that out to everybody. I want to see communication improved at the county and continue on that trajectory. And last but not least, stabilizing taxes. We were able to come in the face of a pandemic and not receiving funding, $2 million under the 2020 budget. So those would be my three priorities. Thank you.
Does anyone want to respond to Mike? And then everyone gets a turn, 30 seconds.
Just like to rebut to what Chris said about good wages for employees. The county commissioners, under their purview, they have control through Greg Hoff, the administrator, the CWA Local 1032 union, which covers almost all county workers. The CWA Local 1032, I've been in dialogue with them. Chris and I both spoke at their July meeting. They are at their worst morale ever under the county administrator. They're underpaid by 30 to 35% compared to comparable jobs in municipal government. They're at their wits' end. They haven't got a phone call back from Mr. Hoff since February of 2020. That's not taking care of the people that take care of you.
Chris?
Just on that note, tonight, Dawn and I got endorsed by that same local you're talking about. So I think they're prepared for us to take care of them. That's all I have to say.
Anybody? Dawn, Scott, did you?
One other thing that I did want to reference again, Mr. Paul talked about marijuana and legalization. Again, that is a municipal decision. 565 municipalities got to, decide. There was a deadline in August whether or not they wanted to participate in selling recreational marijuana. So again, that's another thing that does not fall under the purview of the county commissioners in any capacity.
Mr. Scott, did you want to say something?
I think that a big reason that the municipalities haven't responded favorably to cannabis is because there's been no support on the county level for it. Even though people have been calling for legalization for years, and we know that there are so many positives financially and the social justice aspect of legalizing marijuana. So yes, promoting businesses and enticing that is something that we can do.
Okay, let's move on. And this question will go first to you, Scott. How can we better address the opioid crisis here in Sussex County?
So on that note, I would definitely like to give a big shout out to the Center of Prevention here in Sussex County. They do a great job of raising awareness around this. I think that's an organization that more people need to know about. It's done so many great things for this community already, and a lot of people still don't even know what it is. So there needs to be more funding. I know that they had a federal grant that just ran out this year. We need to make sure that Center of Prevention is properly funded, and that on a county level, there was more done to promote that, and that's something that me being on the board, I will make sure that organizations like that really get the proper promotion and spotlight that they need to better serve the community.
Chris?
I think we can all agree we have a crisis. It's sad and it affects everybody. It affects our family, our friends. I'll agree with Mr. Paul. We do need the funding. Without the funding, we can't do anything. And that stems from the state. That comes from the top. And you can only beg so much and claw your way for these funds. We need them here. Again, I agree with Mr. Paul. It needs to start from the top. And we have things in place. Social services helps out quite a bit. There's not-for-profits that are helping out. We need to make people aware. These are our people. Again, it affects everybody. It'll affect our future. It's something that we need to stay on. But again, it all starts with money. Without the money, there's nothing we can do. And I hate to say that, but that's where it has to start.
Dawn.
Sussex County is a proud host of the CLEAR program that started by Michael Richards, who's the chief of police in Newton. And since then, it has spread across the county, and it serves as a model in the state of New Jersey and the country for bringing law enforcement together through destigmatizing addiction and providing real and valid resources to those with opioid issues. So what I would like to see is additional funds come to support programs like CLEAR that bridge the gap between law enforcement and those with addiction issues, so trust is built, and so that we continue to save lives. There have been dozens of lives saved in the county of Sussex as a direct result of the CLEAR program. I think it starts here.
I agree with Chris and Dawn, Scott. It's an issue we all can solve or try to solve. It's not a D or R partisan issue, it's bipartisan. Everybody has somebody in their family affected by some kind of addiction. You go out far enough. I just read something this morning that teenagers are 33% more likely to become addicted to opioids if they're prescribed when they're teenagers. The body chemistry just, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid just can't decide what's right. They're easily addicted to a lot of things. So I applaud the police officers that in our communities that have administered the DARE program. I know my kids benefited from it, and I think, I don't know this for sure, but we need to accentuate opioid use among teenagers and prosecute the doctors that are the ne'er-do-wells that are just filling out prescriptions like the federal government did with the Sacco family and that scam. Next.
Thank you. Okay. Next question, and this goes to you first, Chris. For the past few years, including this year, the commissioners have put special questions on the ballot. And putting these questions on the ballot costs the taxpayers. Should the commissioners continue to put ballot questions on the
I think it helps the good of our residents, our Sussex County, 143,000 residents, if we do questions. I talk to people all the time. Again, party affiliation makes no difference to me. They give me their advice, they give me their 2 cents, they give me their problems, they let me know. So putting something on a ballot as important as what the question that's on the ballot about our LTC, I think is very important. I think people need answers. I think that's what they're looking for. I have many people telling me, what are we doing about it? And maybe there's people out there that don't want to know. Maybe they don't want to spend a little sum of money that's going to go on the ballot. We have the ballot set up. There's a question on there. It's to get answers. I really don't think there's a cost that matters. I think we need to get answers. I think people want answers. And that's what we're supposed to do at a commission. Give you answers. And that's what we're going to do.
Dawn?
When you live in the northwestern corner of New Jersey in Sussex County, we are the red-headed stepchild. How do we let Trenton Democrats know that us 143,000 people have a voice? We bleed the same as the 500,000+ residents in Passaic County. This is our way to send a message to the governor, send a message to Trenton, what the will of the people is. We are 5 people on this board. We are by far not experts in every area, but we owe it for safety, for public safety. When we're talking about the Immigrant Trust Directive, and I guarantee you I'm going to get hit on this and I will come up and rebut all day long. We are protecting public safety. We need answers for what happened as a direct result of an executive order that sent COVID-positive patients into Andover subacute and our other facilities. There's plenty of blame to go around for those nursing homes, but that governor and that New Jersey Department of Health had a huge impact on the death rate of 134 people in this county who died in those facilities.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Mike?
Yeah, I agree with Dawn. I do have the vote. Yes, Governor Murphy can be held somewhat responsible for that decision and his health department. However, that is just the tip of the iceberg. The fact of the matter is, there was legislation passed after Andover subacute became news that was called the Nursing Home Safety Act that limited the amount of patients per nurse or certified nursing assistant, something like one nurse to 6 patients during the day, 1 nurse to 10 patients during the swing shift, 1 nurse to 14 patients during the night shift. Not one Republican except one Republican senator voted for that. It was a Democratic legislation that passed it. Our representatives, Senator Rojo and Senator Worse in Space, voted no. That's what solves problems like infection, the nurse-patient ratio. My wife's a nurse, she can tell you. Nurse staffing is in a crisis. This went a long way in helping aid what happened in Andover subacute. Something was done. Not just crying about the commander and the governor and pointing fingers. I don't apologize for what he did, but thanks.
So to the question of should we keep spending money and on these referendums, no. The money needs to go to the people here. The money needs to stay in the pockets of our constituents, of all the residents here. So the hot button issue we're talking right now is with the LTCs. I think There's an investigation that's still underway. It is a big waste of taxpayer money to have us paying for this when we can first just wait to see what the investigation says. I think that, as Chris said, it is our duty to make sure that we ask questions, but you can do that. You don't have to waste taxpayers' money. You don't have to waste the money of our citizens here in order to go ahead and do that. The process is all underway, and I think that if we use that platform to make sure that we're actually moving things forward and not just making political statements, that's the better way to go.
Thank you. Yes, John, 30 seconds, and anyone else who would like some time.
Okay, so what we have is a governor's appointee who is the Attorney General, who is charged with the investigation of investigating the Attorney General. Let's leave that there. Where do you think that's going to land? That's asinine. All right? And second of all, I will never apologize for demanding accountability from the governor. It's not whining. We have 120 communications documented since before that Easter Sunday through that entire month of us reaching out. And Sheriff Strada's here right now, and he can certainly attest to that as well. There's a big story there, and if you look a little further than your nose, you'll find it, and you'll be outraged as well.
Let's hold this. Chris, and then Michael, Richard.
I do believe in referendums. I just can't disagree with you more, Mr. Paul. I know you're a man of marijuana and the cannabis. You spoke about it before. That was a referendum. The people spoke, right? I think you're happy about that because you just pushed that issue in a municipality. This is a way to find out what the people want. When you're making a big decision, we should ask the people. We should ask the people, and this is what we're doing.
Hold this. We want to hear from the candidates. Are you deferring to who's going next?
So just to piggyback on that, it's a big subject, worth more than 15 seconds, but I just want to say that there's blame to go around for everyone. The deregulation of the nursing homes is the biggest problem for the last 20 years. President H.W. Bush tried to help that with an enactment of the Nursing Home Safety Act, and I think it was Obama that pushed it even further to make the fines larger and the regulations more strict. And then under President Trump, it was relaxed. So something had to be done. It was in the New Jersey legislature before COVID. I used to be an Air Force safety officer. Regulations are written in blood, as they used to say. This was written in blood. It was after the fact. But at least it was some. Talk to any nurse about nurse staffing and how it helps.
So, did you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because first, there's two investigations already going on for Andover subacute. There's a state and federal investigation going on. You comparing that to the marijuana referendum, where marijuana wasn't being passed here in the state, like that was the way to get that passed. There are currently investigations happening for the long-term care facilities. So it's one was to get it passed, another is because we're impatient and we don't believe our government, or you guys don't believe that our government is going to do a job. So we're comparing apples to jackfruit there.
Thank you. We want to hear from the candidates. Please, we want to hear from the candidates. Our next question will start with you, respond with you, Dawn, and we'll go down the list. Okay. This person states that the population of Sussex County is steadily decreasing, and with these departures, people are taking their tax dollars and leaving empty property and business fronts. What is your plan to change this trend? How can we as a county promote new businesses and residents?
There has been a decline in the population in Sussex County over the years, and now obviously with the pandemic and the governor's draconian shutdowns, a third of Sussex County businesses shut down. So that certainly wasn't helpful. What we do see is an increase of people moving. May I pause for a second? Should we discontinue this kind of
Sure,
hijinks out
yes.
here, I appreciate that.
Okay, I wasn't able to hear that one. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So in order to, draw individuals up here, it's a beautiful area, it has natural draw, but we need to also take a look at some of the restrictions on development here. Things like the Highlands Act that are really meant to protect our green areas, the state was supposed to compensate us for that. And what we have found is the state has backed away from their responsibilities for that. It's very difficult to grow and encourage people to come up to this area when there are not incentives that come from the state that are supposed to come through. I think we really need to hold Trenton's feet to the fire for that. Because again, Sussex County is not just a pretty place to go to and say we look at it and then we leave. This is our home. And the only way we can thrive is with steady state funding.
Thank you. Mike?
Well, this goes, for me, another passionate issue of mine that I didn't get to mention until now, property taxes. Property taxes are a little bit like the weather. Everybody talks about it, nobody ever does anything about it. Well, there's legislation for a few years now in the New Jersey state legislature that you can, if you have the political will, do something about it. I had a conversation with State Senator Sweeney after our primary win, and he was very generous with his time. Here's some stats. In Gloucester County, when he was a commissioner, they merged the EMS services to the county. They didn't mandate it, but they made it very conducive to municipalities. 22 out of the 24 municipalities in Gloucester County now have merged the EMS services. It saved the county initially $3.6 million in property taxes. And that is going up now. Deptford Township just signed on, and only just Deptford Township saved $1.8 million in property taxes. Consolidation works. We have 566 municipalities, 620 school districts, 21 counties. Do the math. You can save money. Gloucester County, 2.27 tax
I
rate.
have to cut you.
Sorry.
You're on your
Okay.
sentence.
All right, thank you.
Well, I think in looking at how we bring people into Sussex County, we have to first look at what the factors that are driving people away from Sussex County. I'll talk about the internet before and how the internet here is trash and it's always been very bad. That is something that could have been fixed already, but we can do right now. So I think improving the internet to make it more attractive to the business owners here, and just, we're in 2021, we need to be able to use the internet. Everybody needs access to the internet, and that's something that definitely drives people away. Also, inclusivity. This is not a place that's welcoming for everybody. And it's a fact that we all together need to acknowledge and just find ways to better. We're all on the same team, and I think once we all really believe that and we all step into actions that back that, we're going to find a community where everybody wants to come to.
And you want to hold our applause and give it comments. Chris, go ahead.
I'll agree again with Mr. Paul when it comes to broadband. We need to make sure we have the infrastructure to bring new variables, new businesses into Sussex County. That's for sure. We probably had a record year this year. As everyone knows, the real estate market is through the roof. I talk to our clerk, Jeff Parrott, quite often. Sales are, again, a record high. People are moving to Sussex County. They really are. They might be moving out of other communities, municipalities and counties, but they are coming here. And I think it's because what we have to offer. I think it's because we offer good things here in the county. Good services, good roads, so on and so forth. There's some things we need to work on for sure, to keep them here, but I think we're doing a good job, and I'm seeing ratables. You saw Sparta, what they did at Sparta North, a new shop, right, food places to eat, hair salons, so on and so forth. So people are coming, and we just got to keep those incentives up.
Okay. Would you like, and then,
So So when we talk about consolidation, one of the largest consolidations that happened came under the guidance of Sheriff Mike Strada when we consolidated with the Morris County Jail, saving the taxpayers in the first year $1 million, and now it's just progressively growing, the savings that happened. And when we talk about 565 towns and all of those school districts that operate on their own, again, not under the purview of the county nor your town. That's your independent school board. And you'll see in places like Patterson, New Jersey, we're taken over by the state, now they're back to local control, but they hire consultants who help the consultant consult the consultant. So that's where we're seeing a lot of problems in the upper level management, where the money's not funneling directly to the students. So I'm all for having that regionalization conversation for up here, but again, it's something that's, we can talk about, maybe help influence, but it's nothing we can directly control.
Scott, you want to, okay, 30 seconds.
Yeah, Dawn's right, you can't directly control the whole state, that's true, but this was done by the commissioners in Gloucester County, the same power that the commissioners here in Sussex County. The tax rate of Gloucester County dropped to 2.27% per home value, an average of $5,600 dollars a year, $5,600 a year. Sussex County's rate is 2.72% and $7,700 a year. So merging those EMS services and other shared municipalities, I know Dawn has done the 911 merging of facilities, and that is to be applauded. But there's a lot more that can be done. It just takes the political will, and I'm willing to do that.
Thank you. Did you want to speak?
I just wanted to comment on, there are places like Sparta, Newman, there's a lot of growth as well. There are places around the county that are growing, and our population has increased this year, but we have to acknowledge that it grew because of the pandemic, and we can't rely on pandemics to build our population. I just wanted to point that out. That's the reason why our population is growing. That's not sustainable.
Okay. Our next question will begin with you, Mike. And I'm going, in the interest of time, because I think 9 o'clock is the appropriate closing time, I'm combining two questions. How would you commit to being transparent in governing? And do you have any comment about appointing a resident of Warren County as Sussex County Attorney? Sure. And with that, there was a reference to transparency about how the decision evidently to hire a resident of Warren County to serve as Sussex County Attorney. And there was a question of transparency about that particular decision.
Well, transparency is at the core of good government. And I pledge to be transparent to all my constituents, whether they voted for me or not, it doesn't matter. The meetings, for instance, they were initially with COVID, they were done over Zoom, and they were fairly transparent because a lot of people got to participate. I just talked to Mayor Burrell in Vernon. He's still at a hybrid meeting schedule with their council meeting because, the Delta variant is still here. So it's a hybrid. You can come in person to a certain amount of people. The Sussex County Commissioners, their meetings right now are in person only, and that inhibits a lot of people from participating. You can listen to the audio, but you can't listen to the audio live. So that's number one. As far as the lawyer, I don't know enough about it to say if somebody from another county can't be the lawyer. I have spoken to Kevin Kelly, the previous lawyer. He's a fine gentleman. And I think it's always a good idea to have as neutral as possible of an attorney, like the Attorney General of the United States, Attorney General of New Jersey, because they might have to prosecute certain politicians in their purview.
Thank you.
And I don't think a guy that, produced their fundraiser is neutral enough.
Scott? 1 minute.
Yes. So I can't comment too much on the Warren hire. I don't know much about that or why they chose that. I know that he did a fundraiser for you guys for your re-election in February, and then later on became the attorney. I don't know if there's some correlation there, but again, I can't really comment too much on that because that's all I know. As far as transparency, I think that as Mike said, that is what government should be. You should know exactly who's running what in your county, in your town. You should know why they're doing what they're doing. I think that the fact that we don't have this hybrid option for the commissioner meetings is just another example of not wanting to be transparent with the people. There should be every effort possible to make sure that every single resident in this county can speak up, can know what's going on. And that's something that, as a commissioner, that is a day one thing that I would change, is making sure that people can be as involved as possible in making this county as great as it can be.
Transparency is my number one goal, has been since I've gotten here. You know, you can complain about the hybrid meetings all you want that we don't have them, but when our meetings went from an hour and a half to 5 hours with just spewing poor information, people from coming out of state, people that don't even live in our county, when we're trying to conduct county business, it's not productive. It really isn't. If we can cut down on that and you can give me a promise, I would be 100% behind hybrids, but you can't do that. I know you can't do that. As the other question with the Warren County, so we hire a person that's right for the job. There is sometimes a conflict having a Sussex County lawyer. They know somebody, they don't want to offend them. They might not be able to get their work done. Hiring who we hired, the law firm, you can sit here and say he's Republican, but he's partners with Jim Florio, which was an ex-governor who's a Democrat. So that's nor here nor there. He actually worked for us prior to hiring as counsel. He did some things for us. He sat in on meetings as well. So.
Please, okay, go on.
To kind of keep building on what Chris had said, again, yes, Doug Steinhardt is not new to the county. He was retained as special counsel for Sheriff Strata for a couple of years before. As he said again, we're talking about being bipartisan. Jim Florio was his partner, Democrat governor of New Jersey, so I don't know what the correlation was that we were making here. Now, if we're talking about being transparent, what I didn't find was transparent was when our meetings did indeed go to 5 hours long, and we had individuals calling from Seabright, from Atlantic, Highlands, to talk to us about how we were against medical marijuana, and we were so confused, we were befuddled. We said, what? No one on this board is against medical marijuana. Oh, we got wrong information from the people here. So do not tell me for a half a second that this wasn't intentionally meant to cause problems for a political reason. And honestly, I'm agitated because it's during a pandemic, we have business to take care of. I'm not blaming you at all as individuals. What I'm saying is, from the opposition, it was crystal clear to us that that's what was going on.
We're going to have 2 more questions, and then we'll move to the closing comments. And this question is for you first, Scott. Why is there no ordinance in Sussex County to prevent unsightly and unsafe overgrowth brush? And the community member references the Indian Fields development in Hardiston as an example of, sure.
I just need to hear it, unless you guys need to hear the whole thing again. I just need to hear the whole thing.
We'll go with the whole thing, okay. Again, I'm not familiar with the issue, so I might have my cadence wrong. Why is there no ordinance in Sussex County to prevent unsightly and unsafe overgrowth brush? For example, the Indian Fields development in Hardiston is unsightly and unsafe. The brush, I presume it's the brush around the development.
I definitely can't answer why there is no ordinance for that. I think that that's definitely something that needs to be looked into. As we said before, the green of Sussex County, the environment here, the views here, that's what's really so attractive about this place. So making sure that it stays that way, making sure that the nature here isn't infringing on anybody's safety is definitely a big concern. So I don't know why there's no ordinance, but that's definitely something that we should consider.
Chris.
Again, this falls on the municipality. We have no jurisdiction over that. I know how the county maintains our brush. I think they do a great job, whether they're weed whacking, spraying, brush hogging, and so on and so forth. It's a question that can come to the county, we can reach out to their mayor, but as for anything that we can do, it's just a municipal ordinance. It's not on our, in our sites.
To build on that, there are certain circumstances that if you see them, you can refer them to the county health department. So for instance, if you see standing water and sitting pools, we know the Jamestown Canyon virus just emerged in Sussex County, actually caused a fatality, first fatality in New Jersey this year from it, happened here in Sussex County. So there's that issue. We got notified, Senator Orho and myself, about runoff right here in Sparta by the quick check, something to do with something from the septic. We were informed about that. We referred that to the county health department as well, who sent an inspector out. So sometimes there's issues that do cross over, but for a general ordinance, that would be the municipality. But if you feel it's a threat to public health, always contact the county health department because they too can investigate.
Okay, Mike?
Not to be flippant, but I like to grow my brush longer than usual, because in the Air Force, if you lived on base, they used to regulate your hedges. I got called back in the flight line a few times because my hedges were 2 inches too long. And either my wife had to clip them or I did. So I don't know anything about this ordinance or supposed ordinance, but I think it's all part of personal freedom to grow your hedges as long as you want.
Thank you. Any comments? Okay. This is a question, we'll begin with you, Chris, and move down the line. This person states that Sussex County has a reputation of being, quote, highly bigoted. What is your plan to make Sussex County more inclusive? I want to represent the constituents. I don't have, okay, certainly I'd be happy to. Stand back. I didn't realize we had such a crowd over here. Okay. Now again, I am reading from a community member's question. Okay. Sussex County has a reputation of being, quote, highly bigoted. Okay. What is your, to the candidates, plan to make Sussex County more inclusive, welcoming, fill in your word. Okay. We're here to hear from the candidates.
Okay, so the word was bigoted, right?
Yes.
I'll take that as we're very racist in Sussex County, which I know for a fact we're not. I've actually had discussions with Scott, Josh Gottheimer rather, and we went over where the areas were of racism and so on and so forth. They were not here. I actually talked to Mike Strato as well about this too, because I wanted to check on it myself. I didn't want to take anything for granted. We don't have a problem here. There is no problem. My kids go to school.
Whoa!
We're here to hear from the candidates.
My kids go to school, they don't see color. If I ask them if there's somebody of race in their school, they won't even be able to tell me. They do not look at that. They're not taught that at home. I do not see that. You got a lot of people talking over here.
I'm sorry. Okay. Please, we're here to hear the candidates. Yes.
I think everybody has equal rights, and I think we treat them accordingly. I do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, a couple things on this. As far as diversity, what the county directly does in the role, right, in county government, every human services contract includes cultural competence. All planning processes for distributing funding focuses on inclusion and diversity. And I actually spoke with Carol Navrick in Health and Human Services, and we brought in a new program 2 weeks ago. It was called the Educational Neglect Initiative. And 80 teachers from Sussex County actually participated in training about how to best teach children of color, because widely, I know I'm in education myself, I work in urban education for the past 14 years. I've advocated for Black and brown children in Trenton for equitable education in a state that does not do that. But our rural children up here need that just as much, as well as our children of color. So I think programs like that help train white educators to best understand the experience and some of the challenges of children of color are really important. And I really endorse programs like that up here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that is an emotionally charged question, I'll admit. And racism, bigotry, it does come down to a personal level. But I've talked to educators. There's a courageous educator at Sparta School Districts, Dr. Brown, Siskia Brown. There's a whole committee, the C3 committee, Culture and Climate Committee, Culture and Climate, and they have a task force on racism. They have courageous students that made a video on the racism they experienced. Yes, racism is experienced in Sussex County. It's experienced everywhere in America. We have to face that fact and do something about it.
Keep going.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so Sussex County census, 2010 to 2020. White Caucasian population has decreased 12.6%. Asian has increased 13.7%. Black 15%. Hispanic 48%. The demographics of this country, the demographics of this county are changing. This is the melting pot vision of America. It's described on the Statue of Liberty and Lazarus' poem. This is something we should accept and embrace. And we teach our kids how not to be racist. That's where it starts.
Scott, you have 1 minute.
So, the way we make the first step to making this place less bigoted is by first acknowledging the ignorance that is here. Right? Now, we've made ignorant and racism seem like they're slurs, like they're bad words, but they're just descriptive terms. All right, it's nothing more. I know you talked to Josh and Mike Strada, and I'm sure a lot of other white dudes that told you that racism isn't real. But like, what black people do you guys talk to? What black people do you guys?
Let's hear Mr. Paul.
There were dozens of people, black people, who called in to the commissioners' meetings talking about these issues of racism. There was a black female business owner from Sussex County who was telling me how she called in to the commissioner meetings and how she was never even responded to, we're never responded to, there was an anti-hate resolution that was proposed to the board, and instead that was put aside to a pro-respect resolution. Acknowledgement is the first step, and then action is the second step. There's acknowledgement, and then there's action. After calls for the commissioner board to create some sort of coalition to help tackle this issue, and nothing was done, that's something that I stepped up and did with people from the community, creating HEAL I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And I think you did a good job. Joel, you'd like to respond, and then everyone else has another 30 seconds as well.
So when you ask what black people I talk to, again, allow me to reiterate, I know you don't know me, but for the past 14 years.
Sussex County.
I'm sorry, no. I've worked in Bergen County, Passaic County, and Hudson counties. I have worked in, okay? So what is very off-putting when you talk about, okay, we all need to acknowledge there's a problem. There's a problem. But another layer to that problem is words that are said to us, because the words you want to come out of my mouth aren't your exact words. I'm a bigot, and I'm done with that nonsense. That's why you get no traction. That's why you get no traction.
Well, I realized I read for the clarity to everyone, I was reading, I have several questions on this topic that came up, and I was trying to use people's voices and further the I mean, that was one of the more calm questions that came that I was reviewing. But I'm very careful as a moderator to use the voices of you, the public, rather than to use my words. So I chose to do that, and maybe some of you would want to take an opportunity to revise your closing remarks if you think I did a poor job of do a comment, but I was working to try and address this issue. Let's see, 10 minutes. Do we want one more question, or if people have okay.
Rebuttal. So, I asked specifically what black people in Sussex County, because not every black person in America or the world goes through the same experiences. There's experiences happening here. If you're saying that there's not an issue of racism in Sussex County, but you don't talk to people of color of Sussex County, how are you coming? It comes off as you don't care. Yeah, it just comes off as you don't care. If you don't even care to have conversations with the black people that live here, and then you're going to reference people that you talk to from elsewhere, it seems insincere, and it doesn't produce results for the people of color, for the marginalized people who live here that have been screaming just to be acknowledged.
So Scott, you don't know me very well, or maybe you don't know me at all, but I have color in my family. I have black cousins. My stepmother, she's Puerto Rican. You can laugh when you want, that's fine. I have friends that are black in Sussex. Went to school with black
All
people.
right, let's be respectful when people are sharing. Yes.
If at any time you want to call me or talk to me, anybody, any race, any color, any religion that wants to come and talk to me, that I can help them out, I will. I'm sick and tired of being called racist. I'm not. I hate everybody the same. I really do. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race you are.
Excuse me. Let's hear from the candidates.
So again,
Let's
at
hear from
any
the
time when
candidates.
this is all over, feel free, to call me. That's honest. I'm telling you, right to your face.
All right. I think we're now going to go to closing remarks. I would just want to comment that the conversation that we've just witnessed among the candidates is similar to other candidates' forums I've moderated around the state. And if there is interest here, I want to put in a plug for the League of Women Voters, because some of us are specially trained, I'm going through it now, so, about how to moderate public forums around these very sensitive issues. So that's an open invitation to you as people very interested in public leadership, and to everyone here in this room. I'm sure that our Sussex Highland chapter would work with you and, comments. And each candidate has 2 minutes, no time for rebuttals. And these, again, the order of speaking was determined from this very sophisticated lottery right here. So, Chris, you were the one who drew the first group.
Thank you again for the opportunity this evening. I'm seeking your vote for county commissioner because I believe you share the same values, putting people before politics and serving the greater good. In my professional life, I work on our state's largest infrastructure projects that will make life better for generations to come. I've learned to work as a team with other trades to get the job done safe and effectively in an orderly fashion. In my personal life, where my calling for service started with coaching my 3 sons and his teammates in youth sports, funding rec programs, building athletic fields, and privately raising funds for Veterans Memorial. I realized public service is where I wanted to be, and it gives me great satisfaction to do this for our communities. My experience over the last decade has taught me the values of listening, and I want to emphasize, again, listening. Not only do I listen to other elected officials, I listen to our employees. I listen to our residents. These are the people who we represent, and our duty to give them as much as we can for their tax dollar. Before getting to the county, I was a committeeman and I was a mayor. That gave me a good understanding of budgets and how local government works. Ensuring tax dollars are spent wisely. Quality services are delivered and keeping government out of everyday lives. Moving forward as a commissioner, again, the county will be receiving American Rescue Funds. And with that, we have the opportunity to help our residents our small businesses, and our employees with hazard pay who risk their lives through this global pandemic. It is also important to me that our county employees are getting paid a decent wage as they continue to do a great job. Our services throughout the county are second to none, and I plan to continue to give them what they need to succeed and perform their tasks. My wife and I chose to raise our family here in Sussex because what it has to offer. And as a commissioner, I will make sure Sussex is affordable, we stabilize taxes, keep this county what it is. It's a great place to live. I owe this to them, and I owe this to you. I owe this to all of you. It is because of my beliefs in putting people first that I'm seeking a full term on a county commission. It is why I'm humbly asking for your vote today. I thank you all for coming. Good night.
I want to thank all of you for your questions tonight. This Commissioner Board is the last line of defense against a tone-deaf federal and state government that often pretends that Northwest New Jersey is an afterthought. When funding is based on total population, an all-or-nothing approach kills our 140,000 residents. Not only does this board serve, but we are consistently put in the position of protecting residents from very real dangers that result from underfunding. We talked a lot tonight about social issues. I didn't hear many questions actually about county governance. And our opponents, although well-intentioned, I think offer much of the same. I think it would be a silent and complicit duplication of the Democrat-Trenton status quo. I don't think it's a secret you don't see promotion that clearly advertises them as Democrat because they're aware of the damage that would do to their campaign up here in Sussex County that has been so damaged by a governor that with a stroke of a single pen, he has decimated businesses and has literally snuffed out lives. I would expect nothing different, and there would be no line of defense here in Sussex County at the county level should we have a Democrat-controlled board. And I hope my 30 seconds, I hope I get an extra 15 there for this. What we would experience in our meetings, our commissioner meetings, this is a very good example of what we've experienced. And last but not least, never did I think I would be involved in politics. But that's how servant leadership works. You're called to serve, which then segues into a leadership role. Whether it's helping children in underserved urban communities or helping us up here in rural New Jersey, the thought is still the same. You're first called to serve, and then you lead. And I appreciate my time here at the county, my 3 years at the county, my 3 years at the municipality, and God willing, I'll have 3 more to continue to fight for fair funding and for the people of Sussex County. Thank you.
Next. 2 minutes.
Sussex County needs change. I mentioned before that our county is becoming more diverse demographically and also politically. An all-Republican Board of Commissioners, what we have, is not representative of all our voices. This county is changing. We're split like 60-40. That doesn't mean you have to elect the Democrats. It just means there's a lot of people underrepresented by our values, our democratic values. Years ago, I took an oath. I took an oath as an Air Force officer. I took the same oath that all military officers was to take. To defend and support the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The January 6th insurrection was an attempt by a city president to incite a riot.
Excuse me.
Process of officially counting the electors of a legitimate presidential election. Vernon Township recognized this fact, and they passed an appropriate anti-hate resolution that involved condemnation of the unpatriotic subversion of democracy and rightly and courageously denounced them in a bipartisan anti-hate resolution. It's now clear to me that our county commissioners could not follow suit because their allegiance to a disgraced demagogue and the supporters of the county held sway over their allegiance to the Constitution. As a veteran who has always taken the oath of office seriously, I cannot remain silent or idle at a moment when we have all seen the glimpse of what a conspiracy-fueled mob can do to our democracy. I cannot fully trust any leader at any level who continues to feed the lies that led to this threat to our elected process. That being said, if elected, Scott and I must be able to work together with the best of the board for positive change. We are both capable and willing to do that. As an aircraft commander in the Air Force, my crew consisted of a very diverse group of people from all over the country, all walks of life. There was no time or place to pay heed to politics when under fire, mostly figuratively during times of peace, sometimes literally during times of war. I will bring that experience to the table, plus a willingness to solve problems with civil discourse and collaboration. I have served my country honorably before. I am ready, willing, and able to serve my county. Thank you.
Now let's hear from Scott Paul.
All right. Sussex County, it's time to step into this decade. It's 2021. We need leadership that can balance fostering the things that make this county great with bolstering the things that need improvement. We need leadership that can acknowledge the steps we've taken as a society and technology and also just in our ability to serve all people. I will make sure that I listen to everybody. Everybody's voice will be heard, especially the marginalized people who have been screaming to be heard forever. I will make sure that our restaurants, our retail shops, creative spaces, and small businesses are properly promoted. This pandemic presents a lot of problems, a lot of uncertainty, but also that means there will be a lot of opportunities to come out of this, and I hope Sussex County businesses sees that. As an entrepreneur and as a creative, we're naturally problem solvers, and this county needs problem solvers, not problem deflectors or problem deniers. People are always intrigued by my ability and desire to speak to people from different backgrounds and different political ideologies. I think we all have a reason for picking our political party, and it's usually for good and pure intentions. I'm a Democrat because this party tries to stand behind the little guy, but truth be told, prior to running, I was an independent because I've never believed in blindly following one party or blindly opposing another party. I really embrace the opportunity to work with people with different life experiences and different expertise because that's how we grow and that's how we learn. Sussex County, I've been here for a long time, and I'll continue to be here finding ways to positively impact this community. A vote for me is a vote for all that Sussex County is and all that Sussex County can be. Thank you everybody for coming.
Okay, well, I think that I've been doing this now for about 30 years. Yours is probably the most enthusiastic audience I have